Woo! I'm glad I'm making this video, man. You guys know when it comes to Final Fantasy, when it comes to a lot of turn-based stuff, I cap from the tallest mountains, the tallest buildings in the world. I've always been 100% with this stuff. I love Final Fantasy. I want as many of these type of games on the platform as possible. So when Xbox in the past has missed it, I'm always like, man, that stings. You know, when I don't get to play a Final Fantasy VII, man, that stings. And for the longest time, even with, you know, Square Enix and Microsoft working more close hand to hand together, I was always skeptical because I feel like I've been abused over the years. You know, I get a little bit of a shine and light in the darkness, and I'm like, we good. And then we miss Octopath Traveler 2 for a while. So now we got Octopath Traveler 2. It's really looking like Square Enix is serious about this relationship with Xbox. For now, I'm very optimistic with this because I don't feel like logistic wise it makes a whole lot of sense for Square Enix to go back at this point. You know, they haven't been doing the greatest for a while now. They have been kind of, you know, pushing the boundaries of, you know, their company not doing the greatest financially. So I've always wondered, there's so many games. There's a lot of stuff down the pipeline and stuff they've made that Xbox just doesn't have. You know, I would say Triangle Strategy is a game that I would love to come to the Xbox platform. I don't believe that's even on PlayStation, but I would like for games like that. I'm pretty sure Bravery Default is published by Square Enix. You know, we'll bring that over here too. The Pixel Collection, Final Fantasy 16, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that, I think all of them need to be on Xbox. And obviously Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. But Jez Corden over there on the Xbox 2 has given me signs of hope. Obviously, Tokyo Game Show's coming up. And we wonder what's there. What's at the Tokyo Game Show? You know, they were kind of not very vocal that they were going to be there, and now they got a broadcast coming on the 26th. I think at like 6 in the morning Eastern. So, with them being there in a broadcasting form, what are they going to show? Because clearly they're going to be there from first-party standpoint. They've talked about Bethesda, but they also said at the end of that, they said we're going to have third-party stuff there as well. Third-party stuff like Square Enix, stuff like Capcom. There's a bunch of games in the past year that have missed the Xbox platform, like the Mega Man collection. These games would be a perfect opportunity to come up there and just do like even a sizzle reel. Even you want to do a montage there, Square Enix, showing a bunch of games coming to the Xbox platform. But let's go over here. Let's go over here to Jez Corden, and let's see exactly what he says. You know, I try to get context to the context is due. So let's get with it.
I heard that the whole slate's on the docket, you know, including Final Fantasy 7 and 16 and Pixel remasters. So like there was this
the whole slate
wondering like, is Sony locked down Final Fantasy 7 forever? I've heard that is not the case, and that Final Fantasy 7 will eventually come to Xbox. I don't know when it will, and I don't know if it will be in the first wave. What I would personally expect is that you'll probably be able to expect Pixel remasters and maybe Final Fantasy 16 initially. I think like for Square Enix right now, Final Fantasy 16 is more relevant than Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and they can't really. There's something they need to work out when it comes to Final Fantasy 7 Remake, is because it's like you got Remake and then it's into Rebirth, right? Yeah. You can't release them. You can't. You've got to. There's a bit more thought process to go in there.
I disagree with that to a degree.
On Xbox, I think, and maybe there is still some exclusivity stuff around Rebirth, especially because it's a bit more recent. So, yeah, I do think 7 Remake will come to Xbox, but I think at least initially.
All right, so, you know, essentially, what's going on here is Jess is like, look, he's being told through the grapevine that the whole slate for Square Enix is coming eventually. We just don't know when. I personally believe Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, and I would like the last one to be called Reunion, but that's just me. I think those games have already been secured by PlayStation. In my personal opinion, I wouldn't be surprised is after the remake, because it was during the pandemic. That game was extremely successful. And PlayStation went up there and they're like, we locking it down. It belongs to us now. And they just locked the whole trilogy down. Would not surprise me, not one bit, if Sony did that. And you know what? It's business. If they had to do that, they had to do that. We have the Tokyo Game Show coming up at the end of this month. We in September. So to me, a good thing would happen, and this is just me. This is my prediction, a little prediction going on when it comes to the Tokyo Game Show of the Xbox thing. I think Square Enix is going to be there in big ways. I think they're probably going to show 16 coming to the Xbox platform, maybe even the remakes. Now, obviously, I agree with Jez that Final Fantasy 16 is probably their game that they're focusing on the most. Because even though that Microsoft and Square Enix are working better and the relationship's gotten good, does not mean that those games are just going to magically be ported to Xbox. Unless they were working on them for a while now, most likely some of these games are going to take time coming over because you got to work on the port themselves. So I think that's what you're going to see here the next couple weeks. You're going to see these games just naturally start flowing over, and that doesn't surprise me one bit. I would hope, and this is just me, I think what would be really nice at the Tokyo Game Show is they announce Final Fantasy 16, they announce Pixel, the collection, and they announce some of the Capcom games that's missed the Xbox platform, all coming to it, all coming to the Xbox. Now, I think, a little bit of bragging points, Xbox should pursue that Game Pass bag. I've always been very vocal that if games miss the Xbox platform day and date, that the best way that Microsoft can make up to its consumer is to putting something like that into their subscription service. Now, as far as like 16 and Pixel collections, I would probably see Pixel collections go into that first, because I feel like they're going to try to capitalize as much on that 16 deal as possible, unless Microsoft's willing to drop the bag. And to a point, Microsoft, you got that bag, just drop it. Because it's like, look, I get it. You're going to be focusing more on your stuff now. Bethesda, ABK, Xbox Studios. It makes more sense for you to focus on your games now, because now you don't have to go and pursue these third-party deals and pursue these Game Pass things. But to me, I think the best thing you could do is, yes, rely on your first party, Bethesda, Xbox Studios, ABK, but you don't have really a huge Japanese-centric audience. And the best way to accommodate that and to keep the existing ones happy is to work with some of these Japanese publishers or buy one of them. I've always said, if Microsoft is going to buy another publisher, I'm against expansion unless it's a Japanese publisher, because if the business is about Game Pass now, and that's the core focus of Xbox, they got to start focusing on the Japanese support in Game Pass. And the best way to do that is to own a Japanese publisher. That's the only, maybe a Sega, something like that. I'm not really too big on them getting something like Square Enix. Competitive-wise, it would be kind of crazy if you saw that and they did decide to keep certain games exclusive to the Xbox platform, kind of like they're doing now with this like 3 months to a year timed exclusivity. That's what I believe is starting to happen. But this is good, man. This is good. Xbox is finally getting some of these big Japanese titles that I love, and I'm beyond excited for it. I think Tokyo Game Show is going to be a W. I do. I think it's going to be a W. I think people are going to enjoy what they see there. I myself will be covering it. Obviously, I cover Tokyo Game Show every year, and we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But anyway, put in the comment section below what you guys feel. Do you think at this point, is it even worth getting Final Fantasy? Do you think it's just, the the energy for it's gone. It's left the room. You don't really need it anymore. I'm very curious to your guys' opinion in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content on here. And don't forget to go over there and follow me at Twitter at LordAddictILP. And in the comment section below, the description below will be my my live streaming channel, Addict Arena. Now, that's essentially just us kicking it with the community, talking about daily gaming news, playing games, that kind of stuff. But appreciate everyone for coming through. You guys have a nice day. Peace. Man, Final Fantasy Pixel Collections come. I'm going to be streaming it. Just saying.